I'm at 138 South Terry Street in Dayton, Ohio. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the potential buyer. And our access is in the basement. If you're facing the house, it's on the left side, going out the basement wall, maybe 1.5 to 2 feet above the floor. So we'll show you here. Here is the access. That is towards the front of the house, and the rear steps there as you go up into the rest of the house. So you can see our entrance here. Just double check. Make sure I rub off the camera there. And the clean out is PVC, but we immediately go into cast iron, and then I'm expecting to slide over to clay, which there we are. And so right away, which is not uncommon, when you're bringing in probably a 4-inch, you bring in the cast iron to the clay, it looks like it's inserted, and so you have a little bit of root intrusion. There are some trees on the left side of the house if you're facing the house, and so we're already seeing some root intrusion here. This can be taken care of with a cleaning and or treatment. Most of the time this requires regular maintenance, just to be sure that the roots don't grow into the flow line. And we'll see how most of the time, like what we're seeing here, this is pretty minor. It's not a major concern to have a little bit of roots. It's just something you need to be aware of so that you can either can treat it with a chemical. In these cases, what this looks like is you could probably treat this with a chemical that would help to keep these from growing larger. Because right now these look all pretty small, very small amount of roots. So this is very minor. And we will run some water. What we'll try to. We have to see how this clean out is pitched before we run water. We don't want it to come out all over the floor here, since this does go out sideways. But so far everything's looking really good. We do have that. Obviously we have the root intrusion, but it's pretty common to find that in clay pipes of this age. There are seams about every 3 feet, and so it's once the packing breaks down in those connections, it just kind of leaves little openings for the tree roots to get in, and they love nothing more than finding fertilizer and water all in one place. So at 42 feet here, we're switching over to PVC. This is either a repair. It does look like this is a repair that's been done in the past. There's a very minor offset where that connection is made, and that's normal too. They would have to have used a Fernco, which is like a rubber coupling in this instance, to be able to connect the two materials together. And so it's pretty common to see just a little bit of settling, right there at those connections. And then we have another bit of roots here at 45 feet. These look a little more serious. They're not down in the flow line, but I would recommend that those be taken care of pretty soon. Now, some of these are getting pretty thick. Here's another spot where it's like it just looks like grapes, I think. Structurally, everything looks really good. we just have the root intrusion as the main culprit here. The only thing really to note. Let's see, we have some more roots here. And we do have some buildup. So I'm going to recommend that this be cleaned. This section here seems like we've got an awful lot of buildup here just past these roots. So I want to try to get so I can get past it. But there, that was some pretty hefty roots and solid buildup. And so we'd like to be able to see, run some water and see if we can get those to travel down the line a little bit, make sure that it is moving. Okay. So we have made it all the way to the main. You can see we're down into the bigger pipe. We're wide into the sanitary main out in the street. And so, yeah, everything looked good as far as the structural integrity of the pipe. We do have, obviously, the root issue, and then that large amount of solids was in that one spot. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to try to get a look at that, and we'll see if we can run some water. I am a little bit, I'm a little concerned about trying to run the water here, just because I don't want it to come too much to come out on the floor. I mean, it is an unfinished basement, but I don't see a floor drain nearby, and we don't want to get too much. It is just water, but we don't want to get too much on the floor. And so we'll try to, as we go back here, we'll try to get a look at that one spot. See that small offset as they were turning the pipe. That's pretty normal. Also, when they turn these, that looks like maybe there's something in there that's causing this. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of roots at that particular section, but they are growing in right at this connection, and maybe there's a little buildup on the bottom. But it almost looked like there were some solids there, or a piece that had caused a backup. Either way, yeah, I'm gonna try to test this. I'm gonna run a little bit of water. We'll try to set something up here to prevent anything from coming out, but I'm gonna try to run a little bit of water upstairs. So I'm gonna pause the video, and we're gonna see if we can kind of witness how the water's flowing through this area. Yep, we're not going to be able to do that. Yep, there's just too much coming out because this thing is pitched very flat and actually running back a little bit towards the cap. So there's enough water that's running backwards that it's just not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to run water through the line enough to witness how it goes through this this spot with the roots. So I'm going to recommend that this be cleaned, and it would be a good idea to probably have this section re-inspected between 68 and about 70 feet here. So this 2 to 3 foot section should be about a 3 foot section based off of the clay. Getting in at the in this area. It does look like, you know, you have enough roots, and the solid buildup is what would concern me. And just because I don't know if the house is empty right now, and maybe that's just where it carried to. But I don't see any other like water buildup, which is always a good sign. But without me being able to run some water with my camera in it. So what I may do in a minute is I'm going to close the pipe back up. I have to pull the camera out to be able to do that. So I'm going to pull the camera out of the line, and then I will run some water for a while, flush the toilet a few times and run some water. And I'm going to see if I can disturb that spot there between 68 and 70 feet. That way we get a better look at what, if it moves, then you feel a little bit better about that spot. But if we don't see any change, then I would definitely recommend another inspection of that area after cleaning. Structurally, again, the line all looks really good. It's all, you know, holding together. We just have some root intrusion at the joints, which again is very normal for this age and pipe material. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video here, and we're going to run a bunch of water upstairs in the bathroom here, and see if we can push that stuff on down the line. Okay, so I ran some water for about 10 minutes or so, just to see if it's pushing. It's going to push that spot there between 68 and 70 feet. If it's going to push it all the way out, we're hoping that those solids are gone. This should give us a pretty good indication of how well that line's running and if it got rid of those solids. So again, we have roots in those sections that we had talked about, so I'm going to push pretty quickly through here. See what this line looks like. I mean, the good news is we're running all that water. I don't see any pooling, which means the line has good slope. With running all that water, if there were any valleys or problems with the line there, you would see a lot of water sitting in those low spots. And hold it like a pool, kind of like this spot right here. It's not a whole lot. It's a spot we talked about before because of that repair settling. But in the roots, you will have to get a cleaning and hope that the flow got rid of the solids down here. Should be coming up to it here shortly. about here? Okay, so it does look like it started to kind of move the stuff, which is good news. It's probably just chunks that were cut on the roots, or if this place is sitting empty. But there is still want to have it cleaned. And the bad part about all this is that now the camera's a little hazy. Let's see if we can rinse her off here. There we go. A little bit of water, and as we pull back through, hopefully we can see something. So what I'm thinking is happening here is there's probably some root intrusion on that connection also. And so it's catching those solids, and then you have root intrusion there that's real obvious. So yeah, I'm going to recommend a cleaning, and then it would also be a good idea again to get a reinspection of this section of pipe, just to be sure, as much solids as it's holding. I think it's just some roots that are growing downstream, and they're catching all those solids. So what you're seeing is like a trail of roots in between sections here, and so that buildup is really just attached to the roots. The roots grew down the flow line, and so all that goo is just catching on the roots. But again, structural integrity of the pipe all looks pretty good. I mean, root intrusion is normal. So I'm going to recommend that you get a cleaning and then a reinspection to be sure that that spot isn't damaged behind the roots. But other than that, I think, a cleaning and then going back, at least having it looked at again in another 3 to 5 years to see, what the root intrusion looks like at that point, to see how fast the roots are growing, and that will give you an idea of how often to do maintenance. If the cleaning is done well, you can get a lot of years in between it. And there's also that option I mentioned earlier of using a chemical like Root-X to put down the line, usually like before you go to bed or something, and it foams up and it'll burn back some of the roots. And so that'd be something to further look into as far as your maintenance going forward. Yeah, maintenancing an old sewer is not a strange thing to have to do. This has probably been in the ground for 100 years. So I am happy with the overall condition of the line. It's functioning normally, with the exception of those roots, and so with a cleaning and some regular maintenance, the line should be in good shape for quite a while. But at the time of inspection, it is free flowing. It just does have some slight obstruction because of the roots, and so we're going to recommend a cleaning and a follow-up inspection to double check that one spot that we were unable to see because of the roots. But that will end the inspection at 138 South Terry Street in Dayton, Ohio.